So the values in the vibration, the intensity to the connection of the situation is in the belief of it, or more or less the want factor. So your vibrations, your battery towards an individual circumstance is getting turned up by your belief and want to obtain. But that is separate from the vibrational existence of that circumstance, whether that be anything in life. Knowing that life is tethered to this understanding sequence that we wake up and repeat every day, the sequence of life. Even though knowing that life is tethered to that reality in itself is super potent, because it's existing and it is tethered in more of a heavier way. Other things have to be obtained even though they're here, but they have a tether of existence which makes them potent. So the potent reality of certain levels of things that you will encompass or come across in some aspect. Some things are minuscule or mundane or have lesser value to an animate object, shit that ain't alive. You know what I'm saying? So because it doesn't have a strong life force, we don't, when we attach to it, we don't hold on to it. So this is where it comes into the ideal of creating anything with a form of reality. It's harder to obtain some things that are inanimate, especially when trying to find the design of your life force and what you're connected to. Now, the world may make things middlemanish or in between the processes to allow you to obtain certain things that have a higher value opposed to a lower value because of that connection of reality. It's almost like saying, I need to pay to drink water. Water is a life force. I'm a life force. It goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to charge for that, but this is immoral acts. This is where we get immoral acts. Things that are naturally connected to you, and something is in the middle of stopping you from being able to have usage of that because you yourself are that. You yourself are tethered to life because you carry one. So this is where the blockages start coming in for the reality of understanding how am I all if I can't obtain all things? Well, you got to first understand that most of the things that are created in life, there were sacrifices for them just to give them a presence of life, not a complete tether. So that's fleeting. It's almost like if somebody dies, you had them in your life, but they are gone now. And what you have is the memory of that. So most of the time in the reverse sequence in our mind, we get in our mind to the connection of something that we want to manifest, which is memory. When you manifest, it's your memory. It's your memory connection to something that you already have. So therefore, in family passing, you can manifest the connection that you have with them to subsequently get a level of knowledge that they may have left for you or something that you remember. When it comes to objects, it's a little harder because you don't really remember having a relationship with these circumstances. Thus, knowing that they are available to your existence or your surrounding pretense, you don't particularly have a memory with those things. So this is where the manifestation ideal comes in when they say you have to believe you already have it. You have to feel it like you have it. You have to know that you have it, and then you will obtain certain things. So back to the potency of the level of these things that allow the connection to be real. So if I'm speaking on weed, right, or if I'm speaking on drinking, water is a spirit, right, which you carry one too. You carry a soul, which the thing can go hand in hand. So the potency of the idea of what that is potentially mixed in the idea of its own existence. Meaning when people put energy and soul into creating that liquor, you know what I'm saying, then they were able to consume it, which left a memory of an existence that is downloaded into your DNA through eons in the first time that it was created. So the response of what that gives off as that as that entity itself, alcohol, having a history of an effect, which gives you an effect that's deepened by the time frame. This is why people like aged wine and aged liquor and shit like that, because the time frame that it has. Just like the sun treating the sky, it gets the information from the time of going through the day. So when you look at weed is grown. It has its own DNA. You see what I'm saying? It's a plant. So the potency behind the ideal of marijuana itself, it connects to the spiritual understanding of the existence of the human body, which gives you a euphoria. We like to talk about the cannabinoids and all that, and that's just the science that comes with the creation of the plant, it growing in its own aspect. But what happens is your spirit is connected to the connection of its existence. So even beyond the fact of when it started growing here, it's a part, or it's made with things from the universe. So that combination, that mathematical combination that gives that life, is what allows it to simultaneously connect to the combination that gives you life. You know what I'm saying? So it's able to touch or reach you in a way that's past the surface. This is why you get a euphoric high, or you get a feeling that's out of body sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Or you can tap into a different level of consciousness when doing that, because it has a life existence. That life existence, the remnants of the things that created that tree to be that as is something that can be processed through your tree, through you, to access a higher level of existence. It's because, like, you know, the whole as above, so below, the whole, you have a spirit, the inside of something, you know what I'm saying? Like, the deeper you go inside of you, the farther you can connect to the higher aspects, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing with anything else that's living. You know what I'm saying? This is why some of the savages back in the day had the idea to eat people. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit is crazy, but imagine having that understanding while you meditate on the pretenses of what you want. I'm not saying go eat money or smoke money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, or digest it. You know what I'm saying? Some things happen in the feeling. It's like you have that feeling of receival. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know what it is to receive, you know what I'm saying? Then you know what it feels like to give. You know what I mean? So just in that process itself is an energy. It's an energy of existence. Like, we know what it felt like to give something to somebody, and the feeling of energy that they would give off when they receive something, and vice versa. So then, since you start to understand that sequence of energy, that swishel, or that, what's the word I want to use? Ebb and flow of energy, instead of wanting to have a certain material value to want to be able to do that, you just want to be able to give and receive. And when you put yourself in a feeling of what that is, because that's natural, you will obtain things that will allow you to do so. So the reason why I'm speaking towards this is because the meditation aspect has to be fulfilled in all this knowing. You were, like, most people were removed from the fact of how mathematics even play a role in some of these things. Well, it's being able to calculate the value of things that you have within yourself to the universal principle of circumstances. So therefore, it's easy to meld those situations together by the way they feel in the physical. You see what I'm saying? So then when you start understanding that science, this is when you can bring things into fruition. It gets deep, you know, so the overall fact is having an awareness of what you are and how you feel. This is why it started out with knowing who you are. You know what I'm saying? And most people didn't want to do that. They took it out of context and they ran left and right with it, and they wanted to push the words opposed to understanding the sequence of energies that were taking place that would allow you to absorb more and be more shapeless and formless as you add circumstances to you and allow you to move in a more fluidity type way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already know the vibes. I'm just giving you something that works for me when I'm looking at circumstances. And me being imperfect, I'm still working on mastering how to add these circumstances in a higher ratio to where it's easier to manifest things that I feel personally. You know what I'm saying? So keeping in mind that the emotional value is always going to get in between that, because that's the middle understanding. That's the middleman in between you and these things that you are already connected to, the emotional value. So, you know, no matter what the circumstances, you keep your emotions at bay, you know what I mean, and focus on what's yours. You already know the vibes. NAGA